The life of billionaire Michael Hudson in Miami turned upside down in an instant. On the highway, his Tesla was rammed by a truck that had lost control. A burst of sparks, the clash of metal, an impact, and darkness. For several weeks he lay in a coma, connected to machines that kept him breathing. When Michael finally opened his eyes, the doctors delivered their verdict: severe spinal cord damage. He would never walk again. Those words cut deeper than the crash itself. Just yesterday he ran a construction empire and played tennis, and now he was confined to a wheelchair and the walls of a hospital. His wife Sarah, with whom he had lived for 25 years, couldn't endure the trial. Coldly and without much explanation, she filed for divorce. "I can't live like this," she said, leaving him only one truly precious thing, their little daughter Lizzie. The oceanfront mansion grew empty. The panoramic windows still looked out at the roaring waves, but inside there was silence, broken only by the hum of the wheelchair lift. Michael continued to run his corporation from his home office, where the screens glowed with projects and numbers around the clock. Yet neither power nor money could save him from loneliness. One by one, the nannies came and went. Some couldn't handle the master's difficult character, others, Lizzie's whims, as she longed for her mother. And then she appeared, Emily Davis, a medical college student. Fragile, with big eyes and a gentle smile, she came only temporarily, just to earn some extra money, but immediately stood out from the rest. Emily cared for Lizzie sincerely, like for a younger sister, and spoke to Michael not as a helpless cripple, but as a man who still had strength within him. She noticed what others overlooked. Michael had resigned himself and was surrendering little by little each day. Emily couldn't accept that. She had personal experience. Her brother had learned to stand and walk again after an accident. And she believed a miracle was possible here too. At first Michael brushed her off, but her persistence broke through his indifference. That was how the training began: light exercises, then harder ones, sometimes with pain so sharp it took his breath away. Week after week, his body came back to life. Muscles trembled, his fingers obeyed again. For the first time, hope appeared. Gradually, they became closer than they expected. The house once again filled with the sound of a child's laughter. Lizzie ran through the halls, dragging her father and Emily into games, and more often they resembled a real family. But the past refused to let go. Sarah returned, polished, cold, with an expensive lawyer. She demanded custody of her daughter and a share of the business, threatening a loud scandal. Once again, Michael stood before a choice: lose what he cherished or fight. Emily, unwilling to be the cause of destruction, decided to leave. "I don't want to be a bargaining chip," she said. Only then did Michael realize, without her, he would lose not only his strength, but also the very meaning of life. At a major press conference in Miami, where everyone expected announcements about a new skyscraper and billion-dollar investments, he spoke of something else for the first time. His voice trembled as he confessed, "Life has given me a second chance. And I owe it not to money, not to doctors. My miracle is Emily Davis. I want her by my side forever." Those words spread across newspapers and news portals. That evening, when they returned home, Lizzie ran up to Emily, hugged her, and whispered, "Mom!" And at that moment Michael understood. He had a family again. Which meant he also had a future. After the conference, Michael's life seemed to burst into new colors. The phones in his office rang non-stop, journalists begged for interviews, but he no longer cared about newspapers or stock ratings. The only thing that mattered was that Emily was by his side. She hesitated for a long time before coming back. She felt shy, afraid of gossip, but Lizzie wouldn't leave her for a single moment, and for the first time in ages Michael looked truly happy. One evening, when the mansion glowed with soft light and the ocean roared beyond the window, Michael called Emily into his study. He sat in his wheelchair by the panoramic window, watching the sunset. "You know," he said quietly, "I always thought money could buy everything. But it turns out the most precious things come for free. Someone simply walks into your life and changes it forever." Emily smiled and sat down beside him. "Michael, I didn't do anything special. I just couldn't let you give up." He turned to her and took her hand. "For me, you've done more than anyone ever could. You gave me my life back." Emily blushed, her eyes glistening with tears. "And Lizzie," she asked, "are you sure she's ready to accept all of this?" At that moment, the little girl peeked into the room. She was holding a drawing of 3 figures: herself, her father, and Emily. At the bottom, in crooked childish handwriting, it read, "My family." See. Michael smiled. She's already decided for us. Emily couldn't hold back her tears and pulled Lizzie into her arms. And at that moment Michael felt, ahead of them lay not only battles, but true happiness.